Bismillah. So what I want to say is that we should be people who check in with other people. We check in with people who not only are sick, right? So we talked about sickness. People get colds. People deal with sinus infections. People come down with something. People twist their ankle or break their bones, right? People get into accidents. May Allah protect us all. I mean, and so these people, it's obvious you find out that they're sick and they're on your mind and you go check on them, right? But what about the people who are depressed? The people who deal with chronic depression, seasonal depression, right? This is a form of sickness. What about the bipolar person when they're down, right? You know this person suffers from bipolar and they've been up for 2 weeks and then you don't hear from them. They might need a visit. Right? They might need some assistance at that point. What about the blind people in our community? What about the deaf people in our community? Right? And as a father, alhamdulillah, I have blind children and I have autistic children. And so these are people, they're chronically sick. What about the autistic? Not the Sometimes it's hard with autistic children, but what about the high functioning autistic men that people don't want to be around because they're weird? My son, I have one of my sons, he's actually not on the spectrum, but he has other illnesses, other neurological conditions. He's got Tourette's and other things. But one of the things is that when we're at the masjid and we're praying, he'll start flapping, right? He'll tap on his chin, he'll touch his chest in the salah, right? Why? Because he can't control himself. He can't control himself, right? He'll sniff that as one of his ticks, right? And people don't, they kind of avoid him because it's weird. It is weird. But has anybody actually said, Salaam alaikum, are you okay? Right? And that's the thing is that check on him. See if there's a need. See if nobody's talking to this brother because he's the weird guy. Right? Not my son. I'm just talking about in general. You see somebody coming to the masjid, they're coming to the masjid. That means something, right? They're courageous because a lot of these people won't even come to the masjid. They hide from the masjid because the way they're treated at the masjid, especially from a young age. And so when you know that there's a Muslim who's got this condition, whatever it is, whether it's autism, whether it's Asperger's, whether it's whatever disease that they might have, whatever neurological thing they're going through, you know that they have it. Have you ever checked on them and said, "Hey, you want to go get a bite to eat?" You have to deal with them flapping in public. You have to deal with the questions. Watch anything new lately? Play any new video games? Things that you don't care about. They'll bring up stuff and you're like, dude, that's weird. Why do you even say that? But you're not going to say that to them. You're going to endure it. Why? Because they need somebody to be there to help them, right? We don't think about these things, but we have people in our community. There's so many people in our community with sick children, right? Whether it's blind, whether it's deaf, whether it's neurological, whatever the case, but depressed, right? People who suffer from anxiety right now. One of the things that you have to understand is that when people come into Islam, sometimes they come into Islam with fetal alcohol poisoning, right? They come into Islam with something wrong with them. That's okay. But they're sick, they're chronically ill. Do we visit them? Do we visit them? And so this is we don't just think about this as somebody who caught a cold. No. What about the person who? And I say this, if you know, and I'm not saying this, I just said I'm a parent of children, but I'm not saying this for myself. I'm simply saying, I watch women, and I'm not telling you guys to do this. Women should do this, and the brothers for the brothers. But I watch women who don't have a man. The man leaves because their child is sick, because their child is autistic and he doesn't want to deal with it. So he balls out. And this sister is left to raise this child by herself. And she's struggling just to survive and take care of a mentally disabled child that she's not prepared for because none of us are prepared for it. Where are the people visiting her? helping her. She has more right over the community than anybody else, but nobody's giving her the right. Nobody's helping, nobody's visiting, nobody's caring for this sick child. Not for her sake, for their own sake. Because taking care of this sick child is purifying their own sins, right? So it's through doing the good deeds, it's through taking care of the poor, it's through taking care of the not the poor F1, the poor too, but the autistic and the blind and the deaf and whatever ailments. It's by being there for them that your soul is purified, right? And these sisters, again, they're left struggling. Where are the people visiting them, helping them? Like I said, what's the first thing that you should do when you visit? Keep it short, right? You can't be there all day because you'll agitate the situation. Take a gift, right? Do khidma. Sister, can I make you some food? Brother, do you guys need some help with something? You need a ride, right? These are things that, again, do some kind of khidmah and remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then leave. Because it's not, we also don't want to make the visit about ourselves, right? It's not about us, alhamdulillah. So all I'm saying is that we have to remember the infirm people, and when it comes to children, we should remember their parents as well. We should remember their parents as well, alhamdulillah. Especially there was a child who just died. I think I mentioned him a couple weeks ago, but he died I think last week or the week before. MashaAllah. But anyway, these days they blur together so much. But anyway, so he's dying of cancer and his mom's in the hospital, day after day, week after week, taking care of him. She's got other kids, right? Who's helping? Who's helping with the bills? This is, we don't consider this. Oh, the boy's got cancer. That's so sad. Yeah, but who's taking care of the bills? So we have to remember the parents of these people as well, inshallah, is what I'm saying. And so when we talk about checking in or visiting, don't forget the people who are chronically ill, even the people who suffer. Oh, depression ain't, they shouldn't be depressed. Well, that's welcome to life. Welcome to life, right? So the thing is, no matter what your opinion of depression is, if somebody's down, lift them up, lift them up. And if you know they go through it regularly, then be there regularly. That's an opportunity for you, inshallah. So not just the people who come down with something, but also the people who suffer through on a on a chronic basis, mashallah. We have to be concerned with one another, and we have to be concerned with the people in our community, even the downtrodden, even the people who have nobody, even the people who are misfits, if you will. We have to be there for everybody. We have to be concerned for, we can't be there for everybody, but we have to be concerned for everybody. And this is also where the power of dua comes in. Alhamdulillah. So, alhamdulillah, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before we close, but I do want to open it up for questions if that sparked any questions.